Hello! In today's video, we are going to be going over the fight that we had versus BNR and IL on the first day of our Zone 3 opening. In the background here, we have some live footage of basically the highest PvP we've had in this area in the last few days. Unfortunately, BNR and IL have mostly given up on pushing our Spire here, which is very well defended. If you've seen MrSneakyy's video on that, you'll know all about that. As you can see, the current date is June 27th. The footage that I'm about to be showing you is from June 19th. I decided not to use it for a while just because, unfortunately, my audio didn't work in that recording, so there's no audio recording for both the VC comms and for myself. So yeah, unfortunately, that's hard to make a video on. But I did go through and I took out a 31-minute clip from that, which I'm going to be voicing over here, and it's basically the most merits I've ever gotten with a single set of marches, aside from merit farming, so that's pretty cool. So I do have in total 6 hours of footage recorded from this first fight in Zone 3. If you're interested in seeing the other 5.5 hours of footage, let me know, and I can try to make some sort of video around that, but I think it is just best to make a video on this portion of the fight, because it was the highest merits I've ever gotten from those marches. Obviously, you can get a lot more merits if you go around farm killing, but as a free-to-play player and getting that many merits in one set of marches, I think that's pretty cool. Like I said, in total, the clip is 31 minutes, so I think it's pretty good survival time for my marches as well. I don't think I got targeted very many times. It was mostly just counterattacks. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. So now we're here in the voiceover of this footage. I'm just showing you what's going on here. We have IL and Max up on the top side of this plateau. They're pushing towards that choke point on the top of the ramp there, just so they can secure position. And here in voice call, we're getting comms to go ahead and push to the right towards marker A. And after we go to marker A, we're going to be pushing BNR. So because of how this zone worked, IL and Max had to go a separate way than BNR had to go. So BNR had their flags closer to us first. And because of that, we were able to do this really cool maneuver where we fought BNR, and then we fought IL, and then we fought BNR, and then we fought IL. So basically, we took two different 1v1s at the same time and just kept switching between the two. There's actually a point in time where we ended up fighting in a sandwich position, and we won. So we had IL and Max on one side and BNR and I guess BRH on the other side. And we were able to come out ahead of that. So if you're interested in seeing that, again, let me know. And I can try to make a video on that. Voicing over this video might be a little bit interesting. Looks like now we're going to be... Or are we looking at IL again? I guess we're just making sure that IL is actually still up on this choke point and they haven't decided to push down yet. Again, this is the first fighting I was doing this season, aside from Zone 2, so I'm still getting used to my controls. And let's see what happens. We got some people going in, targeting down the first infantry march. Got Doom and Reaper on that. Gonna go ahead and target a Garwood. I hate that War Frenzy pop-up. You just always have to do it the first time you start PvPing for the day. I guess I should just scout people maybe so I can get rid of it. And there you see me checking my settings real quick just to make sure that I don't have target Darklings and target Legions selected, along with the I guess attack march and march formations, because you have to always make sure you have all of those things deselected. So our goal here is basically just to annoy them and get some merits. We're trying to push them off their tower, that way it takes them longer to actually build towards us. Because the longer it takes them to build towards us, the less time we actually have to defend the choke for. And the more time it gives us in order to build up our turret defense, which helped a little bit. Our turrets did get destroyed pretty quickly, but it was a nice little buffer that gave us some very positive trades. But yeah, like, there's just not enough BNR here yet, because I don't think they were expecting us to push like we were talking about in VC. I'm pretty sure they were expecting us to just sit back the entire time in our choke. So yeah, here we just completely wiped the builders off the tower. And then we probably overextend a little bit too much here, as you'll see. Because we do end up going pretty deep into BNR's territory. So again, my march is still all looking healthy. I haven't gotten it targeted once yet, and I'm just doing my part focusing down the infantry marches, because that's what you need to do in order to win wars, is you have to get rid of all the infantry. I had one person comment, I think I may have already talked about this, I'm not sure, like, why do you target infantry so much? And you just need to target infantry. I'm not focused on getting the most merits, and all my marches are built so that they do either debuffs, buffs, or single target damage. So the Sindrian, Fragar, and Bertrand Tohar are for single target damage, and then Velen Indus is able to do single target damage and not take an absurd amount of counterattack damage. And then of course Alwyn Atheist is just for buffs, debuffs. At this point, we are falling back from pushing BNR. It's really unfortunate that I don't have the VC comms here because my audio cut out, but I'm doing my best to try to imitate that. So we got a call to fall back, and obviously when you get a call to fall back, some people aren't going to pay as much attention as others. So some people here are going to get picked off, but that's just kind of how it goes. We do have IL and Max pushing on our left though, so we have to get out of BNR's territory so that we won't get completely sandwiched. Anyway, as you can see here, they're still chasing us out, but now we're going to be engaging with IL and Max shortly. I scrolled a little bit too far here, and you can see the IL and Max marches forming up. They probably have a marker around there. I think their marker is a little bit too far forward, and they might adjust that later. But like this one guy here, I don't see his name, Suzerain or something. That guy was way too far forward, so he's going to get picked off by Biktra, and I'm pretty sure that Biktra is going to use Spiritborn Torque, and he's just going to die. Oh, he doesn't even need to use Spiritborn Torque, he just got slowed by my Velen or something. Someone else's Velen, probably not mine, I don't think I was up there yet. And yeah, there's just not enough IL and Max numbers here. They pushed down a little bit too early. So because of that, we're able to pick off these first like 10-15 marches for free here before we get up into the main fight. I think that was Kuya up there with the Goresh Skogul. Yeah, it's Kuya. So good job, Kuya. Getting all those counterattack merits. It's nice to see. I should maybe have been scrolling a little bit more on the left here just to show what was going up on that flank of the fight. But I think that my POV is decent. As you can tell, RoG and RoV definitely have way more numbers in this fight though. But you do need to remember that it is a 2v1. It's RoG and RoV versus IL, Max, BNR, and BRH. So 2v1, 4v2, however you want to call it, it's still 20 billion versus like the most generous number you can give our opponents is 30 billion. So to be winning in the field at this point is definitely a very big accomplishment. So yeah, we're going to continue to push them back. Look, I don't know who that is. It looks like Ambo or something. Lambo maybe. I'm not sure. They were overextending a little bit too much. Rip Moja, he's getting slowed down probably just by the Velen slow effect. A lot of these people maybe are AFK, I'm not sure, but yeah, they're getting caught out in the back of the pack, and the people that are in the back of the pack are just going to get picked off. That's how that works. And it's possible that some of these people haven't maxed their policies, and in this game you really need to max your policies, especially because like I'll even show it on screen here, just the one policy that gives you the extra march speed at the end is super important. So you have to make sure that you get that. Alright. So at this point, we almost have IL all the way back up on top of their plateau. There were a couple of times that we pushed up on top of their plateau, but most of the times we just pushed them back to it. Because even though we have way more numbers, pushing into the choke isn't great. And around now is when we get the call to retreat, but you still have some people taking these trades, mostly just tier 5 players who have so many troops that they need to actually spend them. But pretty soon our focus is going to need to shift from being on IL and Max to being on BNR and BRH. So that should be soon. As you can see, the back to sea warband marker comes down, stop being noobs. So these guys were taking probably not the greatest trades. If you're wondering why my camera moves so fast there, when you multi-select your units and you put them into a control group, like say you do control 1 to put them into the first control group, if you double tap the 1 key, your camera will snap to them. So that's important to keep in mind if you want to be able to swap around to looking at the different areas in the map quickly. And now we're back on the line here with BNR and BRH. And yeah, we got this one guy marking baby, it looks like, with 4 marches just way too far out in front. So even though they're a tier 5 player, they're going to get pretty quickly, a couple of them swarmed down. And then there's these infantry marches, which again, you have to target. I'm actually too far forward here. I should be moving back. I think I'm just probably a little bit merit hungry. But I should be trying to let some other people go in front of me. Because even if you want to do your best to fight and get merits as a tier 4 player, you have to understand that if you get hit, it's going to hurt your alliance a lot more than if a tier 5 player gets hit. Because tier 4s just get melted. But here we're able to target down some people. Like, you see how fast these are going down. We're getting like some 30k whites and things like that. This isn't even the most intense. If you saw the previous video, there was some instances where there was like, I think 100k whites or something like that. We even had instances where there were rallies that we were hitting, like cavalry rallies. And I think we had a cav rally that took a negative 219k white damage attack at like a single turn. So yeah, RoG and RoV field presence is definitely very alive and well. And you can see this as BNR and BRH are in full retreat. Actually, it looks like it's mostly BNR. I'm not sure if there's even any BRH players here at the front yet. There's a couple, I guess, but not very many. And at this point, BNR has mostly retreated. So along with this, we are going to be focusing back on IL. Of course, because we're in VC, we're getting comms, I think at this point from Doom, who's doing the shot calling. And he's telling us, hey, time to turn around, focus IL. It's very important to have competent shot callers in VC. And it's also important to have as many players in VC as possible. I'm not sure exactly how many people we had in VC at this point. I think it was around 100. I'm not sure, and I believe we had something like 150 people online. It may have been more like 80 people in VC. It was still a lot. I know we peaked this season, I think, at like 240 members online during one of our fights. And that's pretty awesome to see. Basically, we just have brutal activity in here in RoG. If you're wondering about our max capacity for members, I think right now we have 330, something like that, between the two alliances. And then if you're looking and you see that number's higher, it's because there's some farm accounts in there in our alliances. So that's why it looks a little bit higher than it actually is. So here we're pushing IL and Max back. And this story basically just repeats itself for the next 5 hours as they attempt to build towers. IL and Max are successfully building towers at this point, but it's so far away from the front lines that it's not worth us trying to push them all the way back to their towers to stop them. But yeah, I'm just doing my best here to target these marches as they approach. The PvP in this game I find is very enjoyable, especially compared to Rise of Kingdoms. I played Rise of Kingdoms for a couple years, and yeah, I love this way more. I also had someone ask why I play like this with my screen maybe zoomed in, more than some other people. And the reason why you want to do this is, one, so you can see frost rings. You don't want to take needless damage that doesn't give you any value. Two, you want to be able to see what marches you're targeting, because more important than the troop type is what the commanders are. So if I'm a tier 4 player with mages, and I'm going to decide to attack a Sindrian Freygar or a Host Kanara, that's probably not a very good idea. You're going to get destroyed by like negative 3k, negative 4k counterattacks. And yeah, you're just not going to live very long if you do that. Along with that, when you're in dot mode or the zoomed out mode where you can only see the icons for what troop type it is and nothing else, when you're in that mode, the Legion drag select thing doesn't actually work. So even if you have the setting off, you can actually end up targeting rallies and darklings, etc. So yeah, here we are, almost done pushing IL up to this choke. We're about to get the call. I think we got the call now to move back. And yeah, we're just getting the call here because BR is pushing up pretty close on our back. So we got to get back to a more defensible position so we don't get cut off so far up towards IL. So as you can see, BNR already here is below us. They have a more level front, I guess, than we do, because right now we only have a few marches up there and they have like 20 or 30 or something. So pushing into them here at the start, some of these guys on our side are going to take heavy losses, but pretty quickly we're going to be able to push them back. Unfortunately, I'm still not up to the front, but I will be shortly. Good old pie emoji there from probably Doomstar. It might have been Bald Guy, I'm not sure. Yeah, the Kingdom 110 loves spamming the Chakcha food emoji. It's a very good emoji. One of these guys from BNR targeted that Berserk Fade Drake there. That's pretty funny. Looks like that was Ramtam, so GG. You gotta turn off your Legion drag settings or whatever. But hey, it's all good. Everyone does that on both sides. It's just funny when that happens, because those pets can do quite a bit of damage. Yeah, it's lovely seeing some of these people get slowed down here by the villains on the way back when they're trying to retreat. So many free merits, and as you can see now, BNR is fighting on the bottom, and that's our reinforcements that Doom shot called and told them to come up after BNR overextended. So they're trying to cut them off from the bottom as we cut them off from down from up on top. And we're basically just pushing them back to their territory. We had some pretty good trades here as well. At this point, we were up like, I think probably 6-5 on the trades, or 5-6 on the trades. I'm not sure. Might have even been better than that. Maybe been more like 2-3. Yeah, we're really enjoying this field fighting here, though. Again, I'm really bummed about the fact that the audio wasn't recorded, but I guess that's alright. Now we're meeting up with this bottom force of reinforcements here. And again, just pushing BNR back beyond this little bend of the river here, which is one of the more defining field points. I really like this area of the map for open field fighting, especially with where both IL and BNR were, how they were pretty far apart, so that allowed us to maneuver back and forth and just take like these two separate 1v1s at different points in time. So yeah, again here, it's still just these marches trailing behind. That's the issue with how BNR retreated here. A lot of them just went full retreat mode instead of staggering back and kiting. But kiting is difficult, so you know, it's understandable, and I don't blame them for how they were retreating here. My goal is just now to get up to the front line and do some damage. I'm noticing that, hey, I'm pretty close to these people on the back, so I can maybe get a few hits in, get a few merits. And I was able to do that successfully. So pushing between these 2 points does take a while. It takes like a minute and a half or so, maybe 2 minutes, but eventually we are going to get to their territory here. Now we are on the edge of their flag that's currently building. I did overextend there. I think I got targeted by an archer march there. I'm not sure exactly what that was, but luckily I was able to quickly not be targeted. So I probably only got hit by a normal attack for like 2 seconds, and that's okay. That poor guy just got destroyed by Nice Guy's calves coming in on the bottom there. It's always funny when some people use all these cav marches, because they're going to get swarmed down really fast, but the poor guy that ends up getting hit by the cav marches is going to get absolutely destroyed. So yeah, here now we're pushing in deep on their territory. We're going to clear off these 5 or 6 builders that they have on the tower, no problem. And we're going to be able to continue pushing into them and wipe out all their numbers, purely just because we have more than they do. I don't think this is their downtime. It's 14 UTC, so this should actually be their uptime, but again, I just don't think they were expecting us to be online in these numbers, and that's why we're doing so well here. If you see there, I got targeted by 5 marches. That's just one guy 5 bombing that targeted me. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately actually, that person wasn't on the front lines, I don't think. I think they were pretty far behind. So I don't think I actually got hit with any normal attacks there. I was definitely pretty far up on the front lines though, which I shouldn't have been. Now at this point, we're getting the call to turn around again by Doom shot calling in VC. So we're turning around and going back towards INL. Not INL, just going back towards IL. It's a very difficult thing here, balancing fighting on these 2 fronts at the same time, because we want to maximize our trades while at the same time not getting cut off, because we need our reinforcements and retreating marches to be able to go back and forth with relative safety. One thing that you can do to get very beneficial trades when you're at a disadvantage is to retreat your march before they completely die, because in the last like 20-30% of a march's health, they're going to obviously take way worse trades, and if your march does actually die, you're going to end up taking like 5-1 trades, and that's just not good. So yeah, here we are, we're just pushing IL back. They're not really putting out much of a resistance here. Again, what IL is doing is they're just not forming up enough before they push. So their push is just kind of like this gradient that we can easily storm over. They do have something like 50-60 marches here, it looks like, but it's just not in a small enough spot to be meaningful. And we do have like at least 100 marches, so we do heavily outnumber them. And we're able to just push in. So I'm just trying to do my best to stay on the front line here. Target the things that do the least damage. So I see this Atheist, I'm going to target that down. Make sure not to hit the Kanara. If you see a march that's yellow or red health, that's higher priority to target down than ones that are white. And then here we get another call to turn around because INL is full retreating and BNR is pushing in. So we need to focus them instead of continuing to focus on IL. So yeah, we're going to march down, and we have to just take the opportunity here to push these guys back before they get below us. Because right now they're below and to the right, but if they were able to get actually below us and get into a good formation, they could be getting much better trades than they otherwise are getting right now. So it looks like accidentally I targeted a Sindri on there. That's not good. We're going to target down the infantries again. Honestly, I don't mind hitting infantry at all. It kind of sucks when your artifacts go off on infantry, but microing artifacts on top of everything else is not the easiest thing to do. I think if I wanted to get more merits, or not more merits, if I wanted to get more value, I would micro all my artifacts, but when you're microing your artifacts, sometimes you end up accidentally stepping forward too much. So I think it's better to just use it on autocast. That way the game deals with it. You don't have to consider it and use brain power on it, basically. So yeah, here we are. Again, it's just this back and forth. We're basically done pushing BNR back into their territory. Or actually, this might be the point where we go pretty deep into BNR's territory. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be in their territory for like a minute and a half here. So that should be interesting to see. They do have pretty good numbers here, a lot of T5s as well. I think that BNR is mostly T5s. I'm not sure exactly. It'd be interesting to see a breakdown on that. Might try to do a breakdown on that towards the end of the season. I just didn't have time before this PvP started. So, I mean, that information at the end of the season might not be quite as relevant, but it would still be interesting to see. Yeah. So, again, we're pushing in here. They have 4 builders on the tower, so those guys aren't going to live very long at all. And we're just going to go in, we're target down the infantry, then target down the mages, and that's all she wrote. When you see these mage marches that are super far up on the front lines, unprotected, obviously you want to target those down first, because that's just free merits. Do again target some Syndrions. Not the smartest play, but it's not the end of the world either. Getting a few bad counterattack turns is okay. So again, you just want to target down whoever's on the front line, and then hope your allies are microing as much as you are. That way you continue to get good trades. Looks like we are already getting a call out in VC as well this turn around. So we're going to go ahead and do that and slowly kite our way back. Because we do have IL and Max behind us, who have mostly cut us off at this point. So this is going to be a bit interesting. We're almost sandwiched here. I'm not sure actually if BNR continues pushing and then does sandwich us here. I guess we'll have to see. It looks like we do have some of our own RoG, RoV forces on the left side here of this IL Max mass, so should be okay. Oh no, it's only just one Biktra infantry march. Okay, so it's a little bit curious that IL is retreating here. I think that one issue that IL and BNR had is that they did not have a shared VC. So I'm pretty sure that during this fight it was just like a shot caller for IL and a shot caller for BNR, so they weren't able to coordinate very much. But again, like I said earlier, they weren't really expecting this fight, I don't think. So that's alright. But if you are in a situation where you're in leadership and you're trying to coordinate all these people, especially in the future KVK Season of Strife, where you are going to be forced to match with another kingdom in your alliance, it's very important to have a shared Discord server where you can have like one shot caller for everyone in the same voice channel, or you can have a breakdown of different channels if you're fighting on different fronts at the same time or something like that. But yeah, here IL has mostly been pushed down or pushed away up on the top, so we're focusing ourselves down on the bottom right again on BNR that's pushing in. But again, as you can see, RoG and RoV just have such an amazing field presence here. So we're able to stomp out BNR pretty quickly. I'm not sure how long it takes for them to turn around and run, but probably not too long. Looks like already 30-40% of them are retreating. And all these people that poke up ahead of the rest of the pack are going to easily get picked off. So that's not a problem. Again, we're going to have our artifacts autocast here. I do think I did have Tear of Arbin is kind of like bugging for me for some reasons, and the autocast wasn't working. It always would deselect the autocast option, so I think I have to manually cast my Tear of Arbin a lot here, but that's okay. It's just a small loss every now and then. As you can see, my marches here are starting to get pretty low as well. So it's almost time to go home, but not quite yet. We still got a few more minutes of fighting left in us. And yeah, BNR is slowly cutting us back, and we're just going to continue pushing in. Same story again and again. Like I said, I do have 6 hours of this basic type of footage. It's pretty similar to this, just fighting back and forth between the IL ramp and the BNR flag here. If you want to see more of that, do let me know down below. This fighting, though, was pretty fun. Again, though, the unfortunate part just being obviously that the audio is completely gone, so it's kind of difficult to make content on because you're able to do more talking about it when you're in the moment, but this seems to be okay. So yeah, it looks like I overextended there a little bit too much, but hopefully that'll be okay. Alright, so no builders on the tower right now, so BNR has somewhat learned their lesson. Gonna continue pushing into their territory. We're taking great trades at this point. I'm really happy about it. And again, as you can notice, like I said a few minutes ago, or a minute ago, man, my marches aren't doing too hot. It looks like I have 22k left on my Bertrand. This is probably the lowest I got my marches the entirety of this fight. Because I was trying to focus on just doing damage instead of refreshing my marches. Because if I refresh my marches, I missed like an entire wave of pushing. So that would have sucked. Like an entire wave being like an entire back and forth between the BNR and IL position. Anyway, we're almost to the end here. This is a very long survival time for this march, around half an hour of pretty constant, almost constant PvP here. Definitely a good amount of time just walking between the two destinations, but I think it's fair to call this 30 minutes of straight PvP, because you're either fighting or on your way to fighting. So I think that would qualify. And here we're getting the call to turn around and I believe fight IL. It may just be a retreat call, I'm not sure. Okay, no, it looks like we are slowly going on our way to fight IL. And we are going to be carting back because this one guy, Diablo, here is coming on the bottom with his 4 cav marches. And buddy, I'm sorry, that's not a thing. Those are all just going to get swarmed down. Looks like he did have an Oath of the Storm Peak there, which we all ignored. Just target down the Emrys. Emrys is free merits in the open field. Does basically no damage and just gets swarmed by like 10, 15, 20 people and dies pretty quickly. Even as a tier 5, just does not do enough. Always gotta make sure to cast the Tear of Arbin. I've honestly been really liking my All-Win Atheist just with the Tear of Arbin on it. Gives the debuffs and the buffs and then heals my marches, so pretty happy with how that's been working. Even though it hasn't been getting the most merits out of all my marches, it's been consistently getting the least, but I'm still happy with it. As you can see there, some people got stuck behind, but it's just kind of how it is. Yeah. Someone does target me from like super far away here. I'm kind of confused about that. Like, what are you doing 30 seconds away? What's your goal? But no, here we're just retreating back. And that's about the end of this. I'm not sure if maybe we go up and fight IL a little bit. Or maybe I just like kind of watch that. I guess we'll see. Oh yes, so here I did the wrong thing. I opened up the hamburger menu there on the right. And I sent all my marches home manually. And here you can see these merit reports. We got 23k on Sindri and Fragar, 15k on All-Win Atheist, 33,000 on Bert Tohar, and 25,000 on Felon Indus. So that's a pretty good result there for half an hour of PvP. I'm definitely happy with that. And yeah, like I said, there's still another 5.5 hours of footage like this, but definitely would be difficult to make into a video. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this voiceover of this portion of the footage. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed that voiceover portion of the video. Now we are at the tail end here, and yeah, that was interesting to do. Our Zone 3 is opening in 2.5 days, so that's going to be fun. You can expect a final breakdown of our Zone 3 shortly. Yeah, so BNR and IL definitely control all of this Zone 3, at least for now. But as we go into Zone 3 through our pass here, we are going to be fighting alongside our allies in EDS and our allies in IME and IMD. So it'll be no problem getting through these passes here and then working back from the final zone through Zone 3, pushing them all the way out. And then our final fight of the season will be a very interesting fight against BNR and BRH in Ruvona. It'll be our first, or not our first, but our first 1v1 since our original Zone 2, and our goal will obviously be to push them all the way out of Zone 2 and force them to sit comfortably in Zone 1 for the remainder of the season. If we take a look at the season clock here, the season is set to end on July 23rd. So we still have just under a month before the season officially wraps up. So that gives us plenty of time to push into the Dragon Zone, reunite with our allies, push them out of Zone 3, and then again push B and R out of Zone 2. I hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, if you got value or enjoyed it, do me a favor of liking and subscribing to the channel. should expect more videos on this KVK as it goes forward. We are far from done. I still have plenty of footage that I can make into videos. I just have to figure out how to exactly. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.